Okay, so in today's video, we'll be going with the types or the classification of protein. So we have four. You can look into this picture. We have primary. The second one is secondary, which is not mentioned here. But in secondary, we have two types, which is written here. So this I'm writing S or E. Secondary, which is alpha helix or beta sheet. I will explain you. Third, we have tertiary, and fourth, we have quaternary. So let's start with the primary. You can look into picture to get the concept by picture. So primary is like a linear sequence. Linear sequence. Linear means straight. So you can look into the picture, you can get like the primary structure is linear or the straight. So linear sequence, or we can call this a linear sequence of structure or amino acid. Structure of amino acid, and this have a polypeptide bond which is having LYS, which is lysine. I'm just telling you the bond which have the polypeptide bond which is having lysine and arginine, which have its own structure. Now we are not about to discuss that, but zoetotarium, which I discussed in the last video, is having lysine and arginine, which is having a structure of simple like H, and on the side we have H. Like in the middle, we just take one carbon, H, COH, and NH2, and we just I have discussed this in the last video, so I'm not going to discuss here. So yes, this was about the the primary. I know right name. How could I forget that? Primary, which means like this sequence, lysine and arginine would be sequence in all protein. Okay, so primary structure is having linear structure. You can look into the picture. If you look into the secondary, these all which are different, and the primary is like a straight structure. Okay, so I'm sure you get the concept of primary. Now let's discuss secondary. Let me change color now. Secondary, which is having a structure of two type. In the picture you can look alpha helix and the beta sheet. So secondary is like a curve, primary was a straight, and secondary is like a curve, the zigzag, or any curve which we can look into is that. So now that are classified into two, which is alpha helix and the second one which we have is beta sheet or beta plated. So alpha helix is like, let me just have color. I'm making alpha, which is like this, which is known as right-handed, and beta pleated would be like this one, the zigzag. And you can also look into the picture, this is same. And the example would be like in this alpha, like this kind of structure we can look into catenine here and nails as well. In protein, like these both are very important, like this, both their growth and everything just depend on the protein, how protein, oh I've done wrong spelling of protein, it's protein. Then catenized hair, nails, and beta plated, its example would be fibrinum, fibrin protein in silk. In silk, like if you just look into the fiber, or like which the clothes we do have the silk, the fibrin protein is present in the silk that make this kind of structure. Beta, it's beta pleated, this is also known as beta sheet or beta pleated, and this have a structure you can look at.